Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today's head-to-head is between two high rye bourbons, Four Roses Single Barrel and Blanton's. Is Blanton's the best?
Welcome to the channel, bringing real-world content to the real-world whiskey consumer.
As always, our head-to-heads are double blind. We don't know what we're drinking, but you do. You get to see our completely unbiased, honest reactions to what's in the glass. I dream up all these interesting head-to-head matchups that we can undertake, pour them into paired sample jars, label them. Erin then mixes them up and enters them into our blind pool. We have 16 of those sample pairings here, and we're going to run a randomizer to see which pair we are tasting today.
All right, let's do it.
So today's pair is
7. Lucky number 7.
So 1, 2, set these two right here.
All
All right, let's get into it. We'll get these poured up and we'll be right back with our first impressions on glass 1. Ooh, that smells nice.
Mm-hmm.
That smells really nice. It doesn't smell really strong, but I am getting a really nice caramel note on it. If you think of like a caramel chew, like those little blocks.
Don't impress me with, don't put your juju on me.
Okay.
I don't smell caramel.
This is your own journey.
This is my journey.
It. Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm getting. Caramel apple.
It tastes like a caramel apple, but now I don't know if it's because that's what you said, and that's what I was thinking.
Oh, that is nice. On the backside, the finish comes in with that, like a nice sweet oak.
And it's like a slow heat.
Yeah.
Like very low and slow.
Yeah. It makes its presence known on the finish. It's definitely there, but it's not too strong.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, it's a little more. Like I feel it a little bit more now.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot more of the oak on that second sip. That woodiness right there on the mid to the back palate on the finish. I don't think it's terribly high proof, maybe around 100 or so, but the finish is carrying for a good while.
Are we guessing proofs now? Is this a new thing we're doing?
No, I'm just saying I'm saying it's not blowing me away with flavor or proof, but it's also not faint.
Yeah.
There's definitely something there.
Something there for sure.
Honestly, for like kind of a go-to pour that you don't want to have to worry too much about, this is kind of like right in my wheelhouse of proof range in this first glass. Like I like big, bold flavors and a lot of proof, but not every day.
Right.
This is more of like
you can't have that all the time.
This is like a summer night pour right here. It's like you're sitting outside.
Yeah.
That's our first impressions of glass 1. We're going to clear our palates, go on to glass 2. Wow. That smells like a grape popsicle.
Oh gosh,
like a push pop.
You said that and I smell it.
Yeah.
I didn't smell it.
I should have let you say something first. I'm jumping the gun. These are both hitting me as very distinct notes on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I can smell a grape push pop.
Grape big league chew.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, I mean, grape is a note that definitely comes across in some bourbons.
I don't know if I
Smells good.
would have been able to pick up on that smell without you saying it though.
Yeah.
It's like a sweet, sugary smell, but it does have like a fake grape smell.
Yeah, that's what hit me with like those frozen push pops. They have that really like artificial grape smell. It doesn't smell like a real grape. It smells like an artificial grape.
Like
flavor.
Dimetap. I used to love that medicine as a kid.
Like what?
That cold medicine, Dimetap? Grape flavor Dimetap? Oh my gosh.
Know about all that.
When I would get a cold and my mom would give that to me, I loved it. It's good.
That's all right.
For medicine, it's good. Doesn't taste like a grape push pop.
I'm actually getting a lot of that grape carrying over on the palate.
I'm not.
There's more oak that's there with it. Those are the only two notes I'm getting though. I'm getting grape up front, that kind of like fruity sweetness, like an artificial fruity sweetness, like a grape candy, and then the oak on the back end. It's a little oily, which is nice. Yeah, I mean these are both solid.
Yeah.
Oh, that second sip went a little bit bitter on glass 2 for me.
I don't have much to say.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like,
Do you like them?
Yeah. But like, there's not anything that's standing out to me.
Pretty much everything in our blind pool, all those matchups are there for a reason, and as are these two. Neither one of these are standing out as like overly complex, or, you know, they're not super simple either. They're kind of one note wonders. There's not a lot going on. There's a few flavors in there, but they're not really blowing me away, at least. And they're good. They're just good, solid pours.
Yeah, I'd say solid and good.
Well, we're going to take some time with these two pours, clear our palates out, A/B test them, do our scoring, and then we'll be back with our results from that right after this. Our scoring system is super simple. It's based on a thumbs up system, as common sense as it gets. 1 thumbs up, 1 point. 2 thumbs up, 2 points. Just okay is half a point. Obviously thumbs down, no points for that. And we grade on 5 categories, so there's 10 possible points. Those 5 categories are nose, flavor, and experience, which make up our tasting category, our tasting score. And then later on, once we find out what these are, we'll do our retail score, which is based on the price and availability, which is the retail part of the equation. And then whether or not we would buy it again, which is our consumer score. So Erin, glass 1, where are you at for your tasting score?
Okay. These are pretty close. For glass 1, I gave it a 2.5. I gave it a thumbs up on the nose, thumbs up on the flavor, and just okay on the experience. It did tend to go a little astringent for me in the experience department.
Okay.
What about you?
I gave glass 1 a 3. Thumbs up on the nose, thumbs up on the flavor, thumbs up on the experience.
Okay.
Where are you at on glass 2?
Glass 2, I gave it a 3. Thumbs up on nose, thumbs up on flavor, and thumbs up on experience.
We're pretty much flip-flopped. I gave glass 2 a 2.5. I gave it a thumbs up on the nose, just okay on the flavor, and then I gave it a thumbs up on the experience. My notes were that glass 1, that caramel apple on the nose was really nice. I enjoyed that. It wasn't overly complex, but it was nice. That carried over to the palate, and it had a lot of sugary sweetness, almost too sweet. But
wow.
And which is saying a lot for me.
Yeah.
But it was still good. And then the finish was just a nice sweet oak finish for me.
Yeah.
And I like that. It wasn't doing a ton for me, but it was good. And a good middle of the road score is a 3 out of 6. It's a good pour.
You got sweetness out of this. I got more like astringent out of this on the flavor.
Yeah. I mean, that's just to show you that different things hit people's palate differently. And they can even hit your palate differently on different days.
Yeah.
On the second glass, that grape popsicle note never went away. That stayed with me.
I'm surprised you didn't rate that high.
It was good. It was a nice, pleasant note on the nose. Great, although grape popsicles that's not where I gravitate. If I have a pack of those frozen popsicles, grape is like one of the last ones I'm pulling.
Which one do you pull?
Oh, probably the cherry.
Okay, that's a solid pick.
With this one, that grape popsicle carried over to the palate, but there was some sugary sweetness there on the palate as well, but it started to lean kind of bitter. And then I almost gave it a just okay on the experience as well. It did have an oily mouthfeel to it that kind of coated really nicely, which ultimately is why I gave it a thumbs up. It did go a little tannic, kind of the way a red wine can go kind of tannic and drying on the palate.
I like a dry wine, though.
Yeah. Well, and here we go. I like a sweet bourbon. You tend to like things that maybe aren't quite so sweet.
Yeah.
And you're okay with dealing with a little bit more dryness and tannins. You ranked glass 2 just ahead of glass 1. I ranked glass 1 just ahead of glass 2. Yeah. I said this was very close,
I agree.
but it was not difficult for me to choose a favorite. Glass 1 was definitely my favorite of these two, but they're very close. Yeah,
I'd say it wasn't quite as obvious for me to pick a favorite. I did slightly prefer glass 2 over glass 1, but it wasn't like night and day difference. Like I would be happy with either one of those. And honestly, it's going to come down to how much they cost for me.
And I don't know if it's because I said it or not, but now I'm getting a little bit of cherry on the nose and in the palate from glass 1.
You're playing mind games on yourself and me today.
Well, you can do that. And that's why we taste blind, because even seeing a label in front of you can influence you on what you think something might taste like. But now that I'm thinking about grape and cherry popsicles, this is like a grape versus cherry popsicle matchup to me. Although this one has a little bit of like caramel apple going on. So anyways, We need to find out what these 2 pours are so that we can talk about price and availability for retail score
Let's do it.
and talk about whether or not we would buy them again. Glass 1 is 31 and glass 2 is 30 from our blind pool.
So 31 first.
31 is first, 30 is glass 2.
Okay, 31, glass 1 is Four Roses single barrel.
Really?
100 proof,
Wow.
$40.
I would not have expected that.
Glass 2 is Blanton's, 93 proof, $70. I feel like I've had Blanton's before and I liked it, didn't I? Or am I making that up?
You like Blanton's.
Okay.
I tend to... Blanton's is just okay. I mean, both of these are just okay.
Yeah, they're solid and they were close.
They were very close. I mean, you kind of like the dryness and that you were getting the less sweetness out of this. I enjoyed the sweetness I was getting out of this. Neither one of them overly complex. Neither one of them really knocking our socks off. Now, the reason that I think this is an interesting head-to-head matchup and the reason that was entered into our blind tasting pool is these are both single barrel products. There's a little bit of a proof difference here. I did not detect that on the palate. They're both high rye bourbons. So they're at least 51% corn, which makes them bourbon, but the secondary grain in both of these is rye, and they're both considered high rye.
Okay.
Now, Four Roses is considerably higher rye than Blanton's.
Interesting.
And that extra rye tends to lend to a little bit of candy sweetness on most people's palate. And that's what I got.
I have a question for you, and this may or may not make sense, but when we were talking about it and I was smelling this, I smelled cedar, kind of like a cedar. Is that possible? I know it's in oak barrels, but like I got like a little cedar. It smelled like a cedar chest a little bit. Yeah,
well, I mean, a lot of rye, like you like ryes, and ryes are notorious for having like pine and cedar notes like that in them. And so with a high rye bourbon like Four Roses, you could absolutely get that. And even if it weren't and you were still smelling cedar, that's your experience in that glass. So if you're getting it, you're getting it. There are no right or wrong tasting notes ever.
I know. I just was wondering if that was like something that could happen or has happened or does happen.
Yeah. And you and I have talked about this before, but like we're big on coffee and we use the tasting notes on bags of coffee to kind of generally steer us in the right direction. I don't think I've ever picked up a nuanced tasting note in a glass of coffee. Almost ever. Every once in a while, something has a blueberry note in it. I can pick that up. I can get a whole lot more on bourbon and whiskey, but even then, like on different days, I can get something totally different on these 2 pours right here.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's get into our scores.
Very, very interesting matchup. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Four Roses single barrel is their on the shelf offering is always 100 proof. It is $40. It's available everywhere. Plentiful. Blanton's 93 proof, I think. I think it's supposed to be a $60 bourbon. I would personally say it's a $30 bourbon in a $30 bottle. It's a really pretty bottle. I'm not a big Blanton's fan.
Is that the one that comes in a box?
Yeah, and it's got the little horsey topper. It looks like, so you can't go into a store and buy Blanton's. If they do put any on the shelf, it's gone like that. You almost always have to get it out of a back room if you want to get it. And even though it's supposed to be $60, oftentimes it's marked up to $70, $80, $100. Glass 1, Four Roses single barrel, real world score. Where are you at?
All right. So for glass 1, I gave it 2 thumbs up on retail score and 1 thumb up on consumer score. So that was 3 points. You add that to my 2.5 from earlier and it gets a 5.5 out of 10.
So Four Roses single barrel for me, I gave it 2 thumbs up on retail score for price and availability, being so readily available at such a good price. I gave it thumbs up on consumer score. Absolutely would buy it again once we run out of this bottle. So that's 3 points. Add that to my 3 points from the tasting score, and I get 6 out of 10 for a real world score for Four Roses single barrel. Just on the north side of the, average line, and that's to me that's accurate. The rubric holds. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's a good, solid, everyday sipper. All right, real world score. Where are you at on Blanton's?
All right, so for Blanton's, I gave it just okay, 0.5 point on retail score because of the limited availability, and just okay on consumer score because I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it again. You add it to my 3 from the tasting total, and you get a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, and there's no way that the price and availability can't hurt Blanton's.
Yeah.
When these are so close, and this is double the price and so much more difficult to get your hands on.
Yeah.
So for Blanton's, for me, just okay on the retail score. Like we just said, the price is up there and the availability is terrible. So just okay there. And I would buy it again because I keep it around for other people. I like being a good host. I like being a good husband. In my world, in my life, it's a thumbs up on consumer score. That 1.5 points goes along with my tasting total from prior of 2.5 points. And that gives it Blanton's a 4 out of 10 real world score for me. Between these two, I'm buying Four Roses all day, every day over it. Now that you've gone through the price and availability part, even though you had a preference towards Blanton's, which one are you picking up and buying?
If I had the budget, let's say I had $100 to spend, I do prefer drinking this Blanton's over Four Roses. I would, if I had it right there and they said, hey, I have it, you want it, I would buy it.
Yeah.
However, if they said, oh, it's in the back, or no, we don't have it, or oh, it's in the back and it's $100.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'll take some Four Roses. So it really comes down to price and availability for me. If it's going to be a pain in the butt to get, or if they're going to raise the price where I don't feel like it's worth it. I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
Where I would do that. Now, there might be others that I would do that for, but this is not that.
These are both just like good middle of the road whiskeys.
Yeah.
And there's a whole host of other really good middle of the road whiskeys that if I couldn't get either one of these,
you could get that instead.
I could get something else instead. So we purposefully don't try to think of what these are while we're tasting them. I don't know if I could have taken my time and figured out what they were or not.
I wouldn't know if I did take my time.
But comparing and contrasting them to each other when we were doing our A/B testing, as close as they were, it's just very interesting that one of them is such a hyped up product that people go crazy for. So fascinating matchup today. If you like head-to-heads like this, if you like these blind tastings that we do, and you want to bring those into your own home, then we have blind tasting kits available to our Patreons on patreon.com/stuffandwhiskey. That's in the description below. There's also plenty of other ways you can support the channel there and get real tangible value.
Go check it out.
Yeah, right there. Like you get access to our scoring rubrics, all the database of the whiskeys that we've tasted in these double blind tastings that we do. All that goes in there so you can reference it if you align with one or the other person's palate more. So we just want it to be a resource for you guys and a fun way for you to be able to get involved with the channel as well. Erin, take us out of here.
Well, thank you so much for watching today's Head to Head. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you've tried any one of these two that we've tried today and you have thoughts and opinions on them, leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. I especially would like to hear what you think about Blanton's. If you think it tastes or smells like a great popsicle, let me know. Yeah. Also, if you want to keep seeing our content, please hit that subscribe button, and you can even be notified by hitting that little bell icon. Every time we post a video, it'll notify you. Thanks so much for watching.
Till next week, guys.
Cheers.